one of the topics that doesn't find too much discussion is what we call as executive compensation. So before we discuss about executive compensation, it's important to understand what do we mean by executive in an organization. Executive are the people who we sometimes also refer to as the CEO, the directors, the managing director, the CXOs, which will be the Chief Human Resource Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Production Officer, Chief Technology Officer. So wherever we have the chief, other executive compensation. But going a little below, who is an executive? I mean, organization of any size, any system today, designations are not standardized across the country. So any organization can call anybody any kind of a role holder. Does that mean this kind of an executive compensation applies to them? So when we say executive compensation, these are those roles for which the individual is responsible for their own delivery, for their own problem solving, and for their own performance management. So giving an example, a managing director is predominantly managing their own performance management. They are taking their own decisions and they are solving their own problems. They are not going to be going to the board, which is their reporting authority in the strict sense of it, and saying that I'm facing this problem, can you please solve it for me? Or the board is not going to say on a quarterly review or every 6 monthly review that you were supposed to deliver on these 5 things, where is your delivery, or prove it that you've done. Okay? So it's the individual who are their own mentors, who are their own performance management supervisors, their own bosses. Similarly, when you go to chief production officer, the expectation is this. Yes, the managing director would be there, but the managing director's more is to ensure that there is a singular thought process. It's not to make sure that the person is performing their production activities. It's not to make sure that they're guiding and telling them how production is done and whether you're doing production on time or not, and whether you are solving your production problems or enhancing efficiency. That is their job. They are doing it themselves. So these kind of roles we call as executive roles. When we talk of executive compensation is therefore not really linked so much to the market as it is linked to the business. What does this mean? This means that executive compensation is heavily linked to the kind of business output that we as a business give. So if a business is doing a turnover of Y, I will have a certain fixed salary as an executive, plus a lot of my salary will be linked as variable compensation to how the business objectives are achieved. If a turnover was supposed to be X and it is supposed to increase to Y, then how much it increases gives me that kind of a variable pay. So from a total compensation standpoint, about 30 to 50% of an executive compensation would be a result of variable pay. Fixed salary obviously will be taken as a salary benchmark to start with, that is year 1, or whenever you want to start, you start by saying, okay, we are going to give this as a fixed salary so that I can continue to keep the person again motivated to continue working with us and to reward them for whatever performance they have given till now in the organization. So fixed cost is given for that. Therefore, we do not review and give an increment to executive also every year. Standard practice is an executive compensation increases once in 2 years, the fixed component, whereas organizations also range between 3 years to 5 years depending on what size of organization you are dealing with. So what happens therefore on a year-on-year basis? Since we said a huge amount of variable pay is associated with an executive, so it is expected that whatever is the business volume or the business turnover or the business revenue that the organization sees, a percentage of that is shared with the executives as their income. Okay, and that happens on an every annual basis, sometimes quarterly basis, sometimes half-yearly basis, depending on announcement being made that okay, for this year, for the year ending 31st March 2025, we would give you a variable pay of 1.5 crores, which will be paid as X amount in for the next 1 year in equal installment, or for the next 6 months in this much kind of an installments, or in one lump sum go. That is a incentive policy you create as an organization and you do. But bottom line, a variable pay is a separate thing which keeps running. Fixed salary keeps running separately. Fixed salary is a result of making sure that the person is motivated to perform, to deliver, and is rewarded for the performance they have done in the past year. So, and this obviously the person will be motivated if it's the fixed pay is taking care of their expenses or their lifestyle and helping them take care of various counter offers which they get from time to time. Whereas a variable pay is a common profit sharing tool used to ensure that the executives see that we are getting a huge amount of recognition in our monetary growth for the work that I'm putting into the organization. So this total combined is what we call as an executive compensation.